Hey, my name's Dane. I'm the founder of Dad Bod Sculptors. Listen, man, I just wanted to come on here and I wanted to make this video to give you some context on who I am and why I started Dad Bod Sculptors. In short, I'm a father, I'm a husband, I've got two kids, an 8-year-old and a 5-year-old. And about 4 years ago, I was in the process of building my second business, a leading headhunting firm in the technology space. And this business specialized in building world-class product management teams. But there was a cost to building those teams in this high-paced, high-fast environment. And it was my health. I used to be a guy that was always active, always played sports, never had any issues. Even in building my businesses, I always stayed active. I went to Orange Theory. I did calisthenics. I went to the gyms in my complex. I was always active. But somewhere along the line, my training and my discipline and my habits started to slip, and my understanding and my knowledge started to go away, and how to put the pieces together to really optimize my health. And the reason this came about was because I was completely unhealthy, and I recognized it through lots of symptoms that I was having. Some of them were autoimmune issues, other was poor sleep, other was skin issues, lots of depression, low confidence, body issues, lots of things that I never thought I would experience. But when I became a dad and I entered my 40s, I slowly started to see lots of different signs and symptoms that I didn't like. And so I wanted to do something about it. And so at 42 years old, I looked in the mirror and looked at a picture and saw my body, and it looked like a pear. And I was not at all excited about that. So my goal was, I need to figure this out, right? My health needs to scale because my kids are young. They're only, one of them was 4 and one of them was 1. And I knew at the time they didn't know that I was not the ideal father figure from a physical attribute standpoint. But I knew if I continued along that path, it was going to get worse and worse. And that was going to start to impact them in ways that I started to see my insecurity showing up, right? Like when they wanted to go to the beach and I was too ashamed. I didn't want to take my shirt off. I overate the night before. I was in a sugar coma. Sugar affected my mood. The last place I wanted to go was to a beach and take my shirt off, right? And so I would discourage them from wanting to do beach trips. And these are things that, like, I'm not proud of, but they were patterns that started to develop for over a year or so as I noticed my body and my attitude and my confidence and my self-esteem and then my connection with my partner. All of these things started stemming from poor health and poor fitness and no routine and no discipline. But also it wasn't because I wasn't disciplined. It was because I didn't know where to start. I was disciplined in my business, right? I was getting up and showing up and executing every day. I was doing what I needed to do to move the business forward. Like much of the guys that we do, we get up to do the things we need to move our life forward, our family forward, but we forget about us. And if we are the provider, we are the protector, we are the captain, then we've got to take care of us, right? And so I recognize, like, hey, even though I think I'm a sports car, right? I've got 20 years on this sports car. I'm 42 years old at the time. I was like, I need to fine tune this thing up, right? I need to figure out what's going on. So for me, it started with going and calling up one of these top doctors locally and saying, hey, man, what do I need to do to understand what's going on internally so I can fix the external? And in short, I went to see this guy who's world renowned. He happens to be here in Charleston. His name's Dr. Conover. I went in there and I took I think I spent $1,500 on this really extensive blood panel. And I was like, okay, great. He's going to come back. He's going to have the magic solution for me. He's going to tell me all these things that's going wrong, and I'm going to get it fixed. But he came back and he's like, hey, man, fortunately, you're pretty healthy. You know, you're just making some poor decisions in your life, and there's some stress that you're probably compounding. But if your testosterone, my testosterone was strong. My growth hormone was really low. And that came down to, when doing research, because I was eating most of my calories after 8 o'clock because I was fasting all day. And those calories were lots of carbs, and those carbs were suppressing my growth hormone production. So we were able to catch things like that in the process of saying, hey, I want to get better. So that meeting kind of gave me the ability to say, okay, great. I got some markers to look at. Now I want to go out there and I want to figure out ways to get improve these markers, the ones that are important to me. It put me in a position so that I could learn how to build muscle again. Because when your body's in an inflammatory state, which mine was, and your glucose is totally out of control, which mine was, your body can't build muscle at all, right? So I had to figure out, okay, how do I get the inflammation down in my body, and how do I control my glucose so that I put myself in a position to even start losing weight before I could start building muscle. And I slowly but surely, over 3 years, put pieces together. In short, I hired coaches, Olympians, 2 of them. I helped them continue to give me information to pull me closer towards my ability to sculpt my body and understand truly how to do that. And so that became a passion of mine. So while I was running my headhunting firm, I was, consuming all of this content at night, watching, all of the YouTube channels, the Flex Lewis and Nick Walker and Bodybuilder and BS, and you name it, I was watching them. And I was consuming all of their content on nutrition, on training, on form, on muscle growth, on fat loss, on cardio, on the importance of it, optimization, hormones, peptides, like all of these things that go into the ability to control your body composition was things that I became super passionate about. And so I applied them. And by doing that, I got more interested in bodybuilding. It wasn't where I started. It was like, I just want to get healthy. But as I understood how to control and shape my body and use food to do that, I looked at food differently. I looked at training differently. I looked at life differently. This became a lifestyle for me, which complemented who I was and who I wanted to be, not only for myself, but for my family. Right? I wanted to be a disciplined man. I wanted to be a man of routine. I wanted to be a man that they could depend on. And these habits that I installed that were required to be a bodybuilder aligned really well for me. But either way, whether you want to be a bodybuilder or you just want to be healthy, it's the habits that keep the man straight. And that's what kept me straight. I mean, my business 10X, both businesses, because I was able to stay the course and really focus on building muscle and the patience that requires, and the discipline and the belief. So that led me to over the years helping lots of men in the gym. People would see me in the grocery store, would ask questions, and I was like, wow. They would come up to me afterward and say, hey, do you remember me? You told me to do this, and I did that, and my goodness, it worked, and and I was like, wow, that was just such a feeling I had never had, supporting and growing businesses, which I've done for over a decade. I've helped CEOs, I've helped investors, I've had venture capital firms all cash in and build world-class product management teams. And that was super rewarding because the candidates rewarded, the companies rewarded, right? But the reward to me wasn't as fulfilling as another human saying, hey, you really changed my life, or you changed my perspective, or you changed my outlook with that tip you gave me, or hey, that diet plan really helped me. I was like, wow, this really impacts the most important person in the household right now, which is the leader. And I love doing what I do in the business world, but I also don't want to be so isolated. I want to be able to give what I know to this community. So I would help men and do that. And that eventually led to saying, hey, I want to do this at a larger scale. I want to help more men. I want to put together a program. I want to take this system and I want to give it to other men that are serious about getting the transformation. I don't want to go out there and convince men that they need to do it. I want men to recognize, hey, I'm on a journey, or I'm about to be on a journey. And that's where I come in. I've got all the information that I can guide you with. So the purpose of this channel and the purpose of my Instagram page and the purpose of my LinkedIn post is really just to give you all the information I have around training, around nutrition, around mindset, around optimization, around sleeping, around recovery for the man over 35, right? The game changes when you're over 35. And my goal is to give you all the insights that I have uncovered for 3 years of extensive research and application and spending thousands of dollars on coaches. My job now is I've packaged it into one system, and I'm going to try to take this complicated world of building muscle and losing fat and being optimized and feeling healthy over 40. And I'm going to try to simplify that for you as best I can on this channel and on my Instagram page. So if you can, stick around, like this. I'll continue to push out content on a consistent basis that'll give you more and more information around my story and my journey. And hopefully that helps you. Thanks for listening.